Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Now to the NHL Top 5 and Bottom 5. Are you ready?
Yes.
Because it's Wednesday. Here's the NHL Top 5 guys. The number one team in the National Hockey League is the Florida Panthers. Franchise record 116 points. They've won 11 in a row. The best Panthers team ever. That should count for something. The number 2 team in the NHL is Colorado. The scouts say the most talented team in the NHL, Colorado Avalanche. Number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes, the team nobody's talking about, and I'm sure they're happy about that. Number 4 team in the NHL, the Calgary Flames. Number 1 in the Pacific. Let's just get to the playoffs already. And the number 5 team in the NHL is the New York Rangers. Still officially your Eastern Conference dark horse. Are you ready for the bottom 5, Moose?
Yes.
You always like this.
Yeah.
28th team in the NHL is the Chicago Blackhawks, the team nobody's talking about, and they're very happy about that in Chicago. Number 29, the Seattle Kraken. Did we really expect anything else? No. Number 30, the Philadelphia Flyers, the third worst team in the NHL. Blow it up now. 31st team in the NHL, the Montreal Canadiens. Blue Blanc Rouge at least carries back. There's some reason for hope. And number 32, the Arizona Coyotes. Not even a good AHL team.
It's
just bad.
Yeah.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Right now.
Obviously, I'm friends with everybody around here. So one of the security people, you give them a badge, right? And they're big shot.
How about that?
Guy was bragging to me one night. He's like, I denied John Cornish getting into Ryderville. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Who cares if he wants to cut the line? Let him in. What the hell? I'm still mad about that 8 years later. Like, what are you doing?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It sure is, and we're coming in hot, everybody, on a Flame Tech Football Friday, episode number 742. I should have started my stopwatch, Moose, as we come to you live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Can we bring in the co-host and owner of the whole thing, Moose Dupont? How you doing, Moose?
I am amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
Are your headphones loud enough? I had to turn them down for the last guy that was sitting in.
I'm great. Yeah.
Okay. Listen. Today is a very interesting day. It's a best of day. Moose and I are live right now in daytime television on Game Plus, but our interviews are not. And we have coming up on the program, you're going to hear from momentarily Zig Fracassi, Dave Naylor, John Hufnagel, the coach of the GM of the Calgary Stampeders, Joey Alfieri of the Alouettes, Neil McEvoy of the BC Lions. We're just going boom, boom, boom all across the country for the CFL.
Well, yeah, and we've talked about, it's Football Friday. We really want to dig into some football stuff on Friday. So we thought, great day to all these interviews are so amazing, and we need to make sure people, if they missed them, you got to hear them because it's a real good football game.
Yeah. But we have business to take care of. So next hour, you see I got my Bet Regal bunny hug on. That's a Saskatchewan term. Bet Regal. We're still going to play our contest for the game of the weekend. I want to get that out of the way right now. What is your featured game of the weekend? You need to pick a winner. What was the guy's name? Was it Brian Goldsworthy, Clark, last week from Goldstrom from Withrow, Alberta. He won. He picked an Oilers win. I have my pick for this weekend for my featured game. So tell everybody to sign up at betregal.ca. Put a little action down, open an account, and use the promo code RP22, and you'll get 22 welcome dollars to bet with this weekend. But anyways, it's a Football Friday. And before we get into those interviews, and you guys back in the Millennium Falcon, tell me when I got to shut up. But it's weekend 2 of the United States Football League. And because it is a football weekend, I watched a lot, not all, of the Birmingham, New Jersey game Saturday. None of the games Sunday because I couldn't find them. They were on Fox Sports 1, and I guess they had a Monday Night Football game also on Fox Sports 1, which I didn't get. But from what I saw last weekend, I enjoyed. You didn't see much because you were calling Rush games and Pats games and everything, but What do you think about the USFL? From what you've seen from 50,000 feet.
Interesting.
Quite literally, what do you think of this league?
Interesting. Very interesting. Because they're all playing out of the same place?
Yeah, Birmingham in a hub.
In a hub.
I think they're very careful to not call it a bubble because they don't want to make it think that we're going back to COVID times.
Right.
But I think they all brought them into one city. 2 stadiums there for ease of logistics.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, and I just wanted to pull up the schedule. So, Michigan, New Jersey tonight.
Your team, Michigan.
That's tonight, 6 o'clock. And I don't know if that's Eastern or if they've calculated this to our time zone. But tonight, it's Michigan and New Jersey. And so that'll be my spoiler, game of the weekend. But I'm interested. I want to see how this goes, and I actually want to watch the game tonight.
Yeah, well, as we sit here now, I got to go back and think about how my Tampa Bay Bandits did last weekend. I mean, to me, football's football. During COVID, I would have been all over it in terms of if they were the only league playing, yeah. I would have known. I would have known who the players were and the coaches were. But there's so much going on. Yeah. Just in the world of sports, right? With the hockey. And just tonight, NHL, there are 4 games. We'll pick our featured game later. Blue Jays at Houston Astros tonight in the MLB. NBA, 3 playoff games tonight. So this is where the leagues need to jump into our conscience and get in front of us. Because the other leagues are. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get our attention. So anyways, a very brief skim over what's going on in football right now for the United States Football League. But on today's show, we got it all. Are we going right into the Zig Fracassi interview, guys? Yeah, we're going to talk some NFL, the latest of the 4-down league with SiriusXM NFL Radio's Zig Fracassi out of New York. We're going to talk some NFL now. Our good friend Zig Fracassi joins us from SiriusXM NFL Radio for a variety of NFL topics. How you doing, Ziggy? Good to see you, man. How are things in the Big Apple today?
It's about 50 degrees, Rod. Doing very well here on this Monday. How you doing, my man?
I'm okay. I just spent 3 weeks in South Florida where the Dolphins are all the hot topic. As you know, they're very excited there. And I've come to Canada for a month where they're expecting the worst blizzard in decades, Zig. So that's how I'm doing. I'm doing well. But I have to say this. I flew out of Boca Raton on Fort Lauderdale on Saturday morning, and news broke shortly after about Dwayne Haskins. How much has this rocked the National Football League, the death of the young Steelers quarterback?
Yeah, it's really stunning. Needless to say, when I first heard about it on Saturday, I think I was stunned just like anybody else. Here's a young man who, obviously things for whatever reason didn't work in Washington, was trying to make it happen in Pittsburgh. We had Josh Dobbs on our show yesterday and was his counselor. Josh was Dwayne's counselor at Elite 11 when at the time when Dwayne was actually going to commit to Maryland, but he ultimately went to Ohio State and they remained close. And Dwayne had this infectious personality, like to see people succeed. And, again, it's untimely, Rod, and my prayers and thoughts going out to the family, his former teammates, his widow. Really rather stunning that a young man is taken from us that early in life.
Absolutely. Tragic, the best way to say it. Ryan in Saratoga, New York. If you don't mind, Ziggy can take questions. He likes taking questions. Ryan's a huge Jets fan, Zig. He says a question for you. An insider from The Athletic noted that a ton of NFL free agents have said no to the New York Jets. Is this true for any team in free agency? And the author is full of it, or is this true?
For Ryan, I would say there might be an element of truth to it, simply because you look at it this way. Yeah, the Jets, obviously you're in the number one media market in the country, but you look at the dysfunction that this organization's had over the last decade. Some would say, well, since 1969, because they haven't been to a Super Bowl since, but they've had some good years. I mean, earlier in the 2010s and that, they were in AFC Championship games, so there was some possibility. But I think there's just an overall sense of them not being very well run, although I'm hoping that changes now with Joe Douglas as the GM, and I do like Robert Saleh as the coach. And hopefully the young man, Zach Wilson, develops as that franchise quarterback, which essentially they really haven't had since Joe Namath, although you would argue Richard Todd and There was Chad Pennington. There was a little bit degrees to success there, but still nothing name it like to that level. So long answer to the question, they probably are avoiding New York because, they see the dysfunction in that organization. And until that changes, Ryan and Rod, people probably would want to avoid the New York Jets as a free agent destination.
Well, I'll tell you what, people aren't avoiding the Miami Dolphins at all, and I got to tell you how pumped they are. We have a little segment here on this show, Zig, and it's here's what they're talking about on Miami Sports Talk today, and it's all Dolphins all the time. Even when they're bad, it is. But they got a new head coach. Tyreek Hill is a Dolphin. They've been active in free agency. They're getting a thumbs up from their fans. Dolphins aren't giving this division away to the Bills. How do you feel about the 2020 outlook for the Finns?
Obviously, you bring in Tyreek Hill, who's obviously a home run hitter, like use the baseball term in terms of football there, because he can stretch defenses and all that. You've already got Waddle on board, who was a first-round pick. You had Cedric Wilson, who I thought was a pretty good. It was starting to come on last year with the Cowboys, but he became a little too rich in terms of money for them to keep as a free agent. You had a very good left tackle in Teron Armstead, who, it's ironic, Rod. Normally the left tackle is so coveted because he protects the quarterback's blind side, but since the quarterback is a left-hander in Miami, some would view it as not as important. Still, left tackle is very important. So Teron Armstead, I thought, was a very good addition. They've spent the money. Their defense already was pretty good. They redid Xavier Howard's contract. So I think now, Rod, that there is the time to win in Miami. I mean, they've flirted around the playoffs the last 2 years. They had 10 wins in 2020. Last year, they started 1-7, but they edged themselves back into playoff contention with that huge run. I think now's the time to win. And I also think now's the time for Tua to sort of alleviate the doubts that people have, and that he has to be that franchise quarterback. So optimism is high, and I think rightly so. But until you do it on the field, there's still questions to be answered.
Please give me the inside scoop on where Baker Mayfield is going to be playing football in 2022 and if he'll be the starter for that team.
Wow, what a dynamic that is, Rod. I mean, obviously, Baker is a guy, he took, he was a top pick and at times a little bit of a polarizing figure in Cleveland, but he did get them to the playoffs 2 years ago, regressed last year. And I think some of that was due to that injury he was playing through. Some of it looked like he quite honestly was quite jitterish in the pocket. You wonder what was going on with him. Wow. I can't see the Browns keeping him. That's for sure, because it depends on what Watson, if he does get suspended by the NFL. You already have Jacoby Brissett on. We had Josh Dobbs on our program yesterday from Pittsburgh. Now he's going to be a backup there in Cleveland. So the smart money, Rod, could say Carolina, even though there is buzz that they don't want him. Does Seattle entertain the thought? Do they really go into this season with Drew Lock as their starter unless they draft somebody? Or possibly Atlanta. Now, yes, you already signed Marcus Mariota, who's reunited with his Titans offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. But would they look at that as a scenario? So there's sort of, to me, Rod, a 3-horse race, if you will, for Baker Mayfield.
We have less than a minute, but they want to know, one viewer wants to know who you think will win the AFC West. It's become the best division in the NFL. I think we would all agree it. One of the best anyways. Who's going to come out of it, Zig?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Denver, you had the franchise quarterback. You already have a good defense. They'll be in the mix. The Raiders, the trade for Devontae Adams, Rod, I thought was very, very good. And then, of course, you got the Chargers. They have the talent, but for whatever reason, maybe their issues are a little bit upstairs. I'm still staying with Kansas City. To me, they're the gold standard. We saw slippages of play last year. You still have a legendary coach You have Mahomes. I mean, they 4 straight AFC championship games. They're hurt a little bit by Hill, but I think they're going to do a more by committee approach in terms of the wide receiver spot. Defense is still a little shaky, but still, I think when it's all said and done, slight lean to the Chiefs. That's where I would be going in 2022.
Oh, wow. Yeah, good. Well, nobody will remember by the time it rolls around, I'm sure. Zig, I've brought my satellite radio up from Florida. I missed it the last time. I forgot it the last time. I've been missing you, so I can't wait to be tuning in. Thanks for this today, my man. Good to see you.
Always good to see you, my friend. Enjoy your time in Calgary.
Thanks, pal. SiriusXM NFL Radio's Zig Fracassi.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
It is an honor. I'll say it. John Hufnagel, the general manager of the Calgary Stampeders, joining us down here at Grey Eagle. Huff, good to see you. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm fine, Rod. Great to be here. Thanks for the invite. And 5 weeks of Rod Pedersen in Calgary? Are you kidding me?
Can we handle it? Do you think we can? Will I last 5 weeks, Huff? What do you think?
I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, have you been down here at all to this facility? This is something else. It
is a great facility. We've had Stampeder poker tournaments down here several times, and they just do a great job.
Actually, they've told me. So this place has been here 14 years, and they've sponsored the Stampeders every year through 14 years. So they're big Stamps backers here.
They are. And coming here, I automatically went in the wrong doors. I went to the casino.
Sorry about that. But they found you? They got you in here. Well, I appreciate it.
Well, it's just automatic. I'm going to the casino.
Yeah, well, very busy place, too, by the way, Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. And now with the restrictions lifting, the rinks are getting fuller. The football stadium will be full by this summer. And that's where I'd like to start. I mean, getting through the 2021 season, I think that the CFL did, well, obviously a tremendous job getting through it. Couldn't have been. Do you have a few more white hairs after dealing with this the last 2 years?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, no question about it. And kudos to everyone involved in the league, staff, players, trying their best to follow the protocols to make sure that we got the season completed, and just a fantastic job.
Are you back to business as normal in the CFL or no?
Oh, as close as we have been in a long, long time, and the future looks bright. So I think everything's going in the right direction, and that everything will start on time, and
Good.
Everything will be normal.
Right. So would you say we're through free agency? Are you done there or what?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, we signed another player today, and we'll probably one or two other ones. But truthfully, our work was done before free agency started. We put a lot of work in trying to retain as many of our pending free agents that we could. I thought we did a decent job with it. I think we have a good core of players coming back, and I'm excited for the season to start.
Well, you and I have had these talks before. You've said it. Calgary is a wonderful CFL town. They love their Stampeders, and they're paying attention to what you're doing. And they said, Huff, this is the Football Observers, right? Whether it's alumni, fans, media, that you really zeroed in on that offensive line. That was your first priority here. So you're happy with how you came out of it?
Yeah, I mean, we've always spent a lot of effort in making sure that we can keep our quarterback standing. And I was pleased the way our offensive line performed last year. We have everyone coming back except our left tackle, and we placed them with Derek Dennis. And Camry is a very versatile, great person, good football player. Just didn't work out, and we were able to re-sign Derek Dennis.
Right. Ucombre was looking for a better payday, I assume. Was that the deal?
Well, there were some things with Ucombre. He had a little bit of a knee problem. I'm not sure what the status of that is at this time, and we just didn't want to take that chance.
You know what's interesting is I got to know Derek Dennis real well when he was over in Saskatchewan, and he was on our show a few weeks ago. And I said, Derek, if you had to do it all over again, would you have never left Calgary? And he said he would have stayed if he would have. You keep welcoming him back.
Yeah, this is the second time we brought him back. You're right. And, Derek's a good football player. He and our offensive line coach, Pat Delmonico, have a great relationship. Pat's a great football coach, and he really works hard getting the best out of his players.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you mentioned last season and keeping your quarterback upright. Bo and my goal is to get him here. Yeah. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I'm working on it. And
you go down in Texas.
That's what I have to do. Katy, I've been in his hometown. He's a very big deal in Katy, Texas. There's no doubt about that. Can you say the extent of his broken leg last year, or would you care? Like I was saw when he came out, it was that Argo game. Right, he was doing pivots and jumping, and I guess the thing was broken, but you wouldn't know to watch. Like it was tough on him.
Yeah, he had a difficult year last year.
Yeah.
Not only with his leg, he had a pulled groin muscle during training camp, which limited his time on the field. He had some lingering problems with his shoulder. The leg is fine. He's on a special strengthening program for his shoulder, and we're hoping that we'll have a healthier version of Bo this year.
Did it heal faster than you thought? Like he came back ahead of the 6 weeks, as I recall.
For the leg?
Yeah, the leg.
Oh,
yeah.
It was a hairline fracture, so
right.
I'm not so sure it was any faster than what normal would be.
Right. Well, I got to tell you something. this may or may not surprise you, but Wally was on this show. And I said if there was anything that he hadn't done that he would have liked to do, and he said, I would have liked to have coached Bo Levi Mitchell, because he said he's special. I don't know if Wally's ever mentioned that to you or not, but what is it about Bo that is so special?
I think a lot of people would say that, coaches especially, people in the know, because of all the things he does so very well, and a very smart individual, keeps his composure. If you want to try to blitz him, watch out, right? And, it came to be there were teams would just put as many people back in zone and try to make them impatient and win the football game that way. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I asked Jones about that. I said, why don't you blitz him more? And, Jones, he's like, I can't. He got mad. He's exactly what you're saying. But I've been around athletes a long time, just like you. Bo seems like the kind of guy that hates to lose more than he loves to win. Would that describe him in a way?
Maybe. I think that the passion for winning always is the deciding factor there. But hating to lose gets you ready to win, and that's the thing. Football is a grind. Not only is it a long season, but each and every week it's a new challenge, and you really can't waste a day. You have to put the work in, and that's what Bo does.
Especially when it's a 14-game season. Did you see a real difference last year with your approach to the season and then in season that it was 4 games less than normal? Did it change how you guys did things?
Yeah, a little bit. The biggest change was the training camp aspect of it. No preseason games. We knew we were going to be a young team going into last season, and not having the preseason games hurt every team. But, it's tough when you're making decisions on young players that never played Canadian Football League, in the Canadian Football League, or played a game, and making those type of decisions. You just hope you make more right ones than wrong ones.
Well, speaking of special players, and I want to ask you this now because I don't want to forget. Tom Brady. I've read your bio 1,000,000 times. How did I forget that you were in New England in 2003 and won a Super Bowl? But I was watching the documentary when I was in Florida on Tom Brady, man in the arena. And it goes season by season through his career. It's amazing. You got to see it. But 2003, here's Tom Brady sitting on the grass at a practice in Foxborough with his position coach. And I'm like, that's Huff. Did you have a lot of moments, just you and Tom? You must have back then, if you were his position coach.
I really enjoyed coaching Tom. Just a tremendous person, and I'm just glad I didn't screw him up.
Right. I'm sure you tell everybody that. Yeah. But is there a different Tom Brady, the one that we see, versus... And he's a different man now than he was then, probably.
Yeah, I haven't kept in touch with Tom, but no, he's a complete gentleman. Just a great teammate, a great person, very polite, and a great pro. So during that TV show, I'm kind of surprised you did recognize me because my hair was a lot darker.
No, you shouldn't be surprised. I leapt off the couch. I'm like, that's tough. But you coached him 7 Super Bowls, and you probably just watched all the coverage from L.A. last week. Like, they're saying he's the greatest NFL player ever. You coached him. Is he, do you think? I mean, he's got the rings to prove it. But...
Yeah. No, do I think he's... Yeah. If he's not, he's up there. I mean, what he has accomplished is just truly amazing. It'll be a long, long time before someone does it better. But right now, he has done it the best.
It would be hard to argue that he's not, right? But he's a big man. I don't think people understand his sheer size.
Right.
I guess what makes him so good?
He's a grinder. I mean, in the off season, he's in the weight room with all his teammates in the off season programs. When I was with him, he never missed a practice. Always in the meeting rooms, first guy in the meeting room, the last guy to leave the stadium after practice. So he puts the work in, he gets himself ready to play, and his God-given ability takes over.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's got a pretty good head coach he's working with.
Right. That helps winning. Good defense helps too. But that was 20 years ago, John. Like, did you see his career unfolding that way back then? I mean, you could never tell the future, but did you see greatness in him then?
Well, I think you saw greatness his very first year when he took over for Drew Bledsoe. and led them to a Super Bowl. And the way they won that Super Bowl game, because they had to win it in the last drive of that game. And so he's got great composure, great vision, throws very accurate, and does the right things at the right time.
Well, I got to ask you too. So again, you've got the great college resume, NFL resume, CFL resume. What is it about Calgary and the CFL that's made you want to stick around for so long?
Well, when I came back, I was very, very pleased it was Calgary because I spent 20 years previous in the city of Calgary. Sure, I played for other teams, Saskatchewan being one of them, and Winnipeg and Calgary. But it was my second home. I had a lot of friends here, and it was an easy marriage to get back into because of all those things I've just said. So the fact that we do have sound ownership, Calgary's just a fun city.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players like to play for Calgary because of the type of city and the environment that is presented to them. So
and they stay after their career. But I was just in L.A. last week and had Cam Judge on the show. He was sitting there just like this, and he said that Dickey sold him. He goes, I had to go to Calgary. It was so great. Were you part of those talks with Cam Judge?
Well, what about it now?
Well, he just said how much you guys sold him on this city, this franchise.
No, I mean, Dave did most of the talking with Cam, but he was very, very excited about being a Stampeder.
Yeah, you got a great one there in Cam Judge, which obviously, as a player, but he's a really, really good guy. What else did I have for you, Huff? That's kind of rounding it out, to be honest with you, other than you got to tell me about Jake Maier. These Stamps fans are all over me about Tommy Stevens. They're like, what are they doing signing? You got two great quarterbacks already in Bo and Jake Maier, but I said competition. Bobby Vespasiani said it. Better is better. We're always signing great players.
That's right.
Is that the story behind Tommy Stevens?
I mean, you're not going to go to camp with just two quarterbacks, okay? We'll probably come into camp with four. I'm glad Tommy signed up with us. He has a unique talent. I mean, he's a guy that maybe can use in a different type of style of offense, and you use all his talents if he gets into the game.
Well, this is what I say, and I shouldn't have been surprised with what Jake Maier did. He was setting records last year, as you know, right out of the gate, and I guess with you, Dave, Mark Mueller, and before that, Dinwiddie on staff, quarterback. Right? So, I mean, you knew what you were getting in Jake, I assume, when he took the field.
Well, that was the hard part because he didn't play a preseason game.
Yeah.
We knew that he loved to throw the football. He had great vision. He'd throw the ball into tight windows, had the arm to play in the Canadian Football League. But you never know until the lights go on as a professional. And he got thrown in without a previous snap. He was a starter because of Bo's injury and did a tremendous job for those 3 games.
Well, Cortez says he'd prefer you had 2 years before you start your first game. Jake didn't have that. I think he had a 300-yard game in his first game.
He had 3 in a row. He's the first quarterback to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So he's a stud.
Yeah.
And I will also just say this. Danny Austin said to me, and I think this is true, that you guys kind of went through a mini rebuild the last year or so that nobody really noticed because it's the Calgary Stampeders, but you lost a lot of receivers, right? You got some new... Would you say you've been through a rebuild and you're back at the top here?
Well, I alluded to that about the fact why training camp was so difficult for us because we were going to be a young team and we need to rely on some young players to make an impact, and not having preseason games affected that a bit. But we got off to a poor start. Fortunately, we regrouped as a football team. I thought our coaches did an excellent job during that first break to redefine and focus on the important things and make sure that the players understood what those important things were. And then we got on a roll. We won 1, we won 2, then we won a bunch, and got back into the playoff picture.
Well, we've been here long enough, 2 weeks last month, and now we're here for 5 weeks. I'm hearing it. Stampeders, first place. It's coming again. They're on board here. So that's nice to hear, right?
Well, let's do it. Let's get ready.
Yes, exactly. Huff, I appreciate this. This has been awesome, and we'll be seeing you lots, I hope.
You're very welcome, Rod.
John Hufnagel of the Calgary Stampeders.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming, the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We've been talking a lot of NFL today. Why not here in an NFL market, South Florida? And maybe we'll get around to that with our next guest, Joey Alfieri of the Montreal Alouettes, because he can always talk some NFL. But I do believe he would agree that the CFL is nearer to him in his heart. And Joey, welcome to the program again. How you doing today, bud?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good. Talking football, of course, is always fun. And I have to ask you about your move from TSN 690 radio in Montreal over to the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League. We have not spoken since. How did this come about? I'll say congratulations of moving to the dark side. What's the deal?
Yeah, it was. It came about pretty quickly. I was happy where I was, but there was another CFL team that kind of reached out over the holiday period, and it would have involved moving my wife and I out west. And I think we were both willing to do that. But before we packed up and moved, I reached out to the organization here. I mean, this is the team that I grew up watching, the team that I grew up cheering for. We've had season tickets in my family for over 20 years now. So I just felt like before I made any type of move to another CFL team, that I would check in here and see if it was possible. And I think, just speaking to the people here, our visions kind of aligned in terms of what we wanted to accomplish with content and on social media, with interviews and podcasts and stuff like that. And the fit just kind of worked out. And I got to tell you, man, like working within the league with the team, it's been dream come true. It's been awesome.
That's good. Good to hear. And the excitement I sense is building in the CFL. From what I understand, players are starting to arrive in the markets. And what has you excited about the CFL in 2022 and specifically the Montreal Alouettes?
Yeah, well, I think the continuity in Montreal specifically is just something that the team here hasn't had in quite some time. I think if you look back to the last decade before Gary Stern, Mario Cecchini, and Danny Machocha got here, there was a lot of coming and going, both on the roster, on the coaching staff, and the front office. And I mean, right now, there's stability there, and I think that's what kind of has me most excited. On the field, I think the team looks good. I think the Owls have the best quarterback depth in the league heading into the season. And we saw last year across the league, but here in particular, they used 3 different starting quarterbacks. So that's really important. They were able to bring back Geno Lewis, Jake Winicki, Will Stanback got an extension. So did Vernon Adams. They signed Trevor Harris and Dominic Davis. So I think the team here looks good. And I think they definitely have a legitimate shot at winning the East Division. Across the league as a whole, Roddy, I just can't wait for football to start. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's been so much talk about improving the flow of the game, and there's no doubt that it needs improvement. But now you've got a full training camp for everybody. You've got preseason games. The pandemic it's not out of sight, but hopefully it's in the rearview mirror. And I think that I'm expecting big things. I think the offenses have kind of been stomped on a little bit here during the offseason, and I think they're going to come out, and I think they're going to light it up. I think we're going to get a real exciting product this year.
By the way, if you don't mind, I'll pass along some viewer comments. Andrew Stute, big Habs fan. I think he's a Rider fan, but he writes in, he says, "Hey, Joey, we miss you on TSN 690. My buddy Gallo must miss you, too." I could never quite figure out Andrew. He's originally from Quebec. He used to work in the Rider store, and I don't know where he is now, but he watches this show every day, and I appreciate him for that. And clearly, he is a fan of yours. I got to ask you this with the Owls, and obviously, I hope that they will continue to let you come on because we have a great relationship with the Alouettes, and I'm a huge, huge Trevor Harris fan. Do you expect that stadium packed for the home opener and moving forward? Because Kahari Jones has kind of restored the roar. Where do the Owls rate in that town right now?
Yeah, look, I think the excitement is there, and I think it's only going to ramp up. I know last week we had the big announcement in Montreal that training camp was going to be in Trois-Rivières, which is about an hour and a half away. And so I know that there's some hardcore Owls fans that are going to travel from Montreal to Three Rivers. We say it that way in English. But I know that there's a lot of fans in that area who've reached out to me just to tell me how excited they are that we're going to have pro football in that part of town. And it's something that the team did, for a long time. They were in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu for a while, which was about 45 minutes away. They were at Bishop's University in Lennoxville for a stretch there too. So it isn't something new, but we are going to see them go to a different part of the province, which I think is really cool. And the hype is building. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen, but Vernon Adams is having his annual mini camp. There's 10 Alouettes players out there. There's, I think, TJ Lee of the BC Lions and Aaron Grimes of the Edmonton Elks are there as well. So they're having a mini camp there, and I'm starting to see the pictures, and I just like it. It smells like football in the air, and I think that you're starting to feel that vibe as well around town and on social media too. There's a lot of people DMing me, asking me for comments, what I think about the team. So it's really starting to ramp up.
Well, I'll tell you what. That is exciting, but you talked about the tweaks to the league and some things need to be cleaned up, and to be honest, I don't see it. I mean, I've been a fan of the CFL since the early 80s, worked in the league for 20 years, and I'd like to think it was an anomaly the scoring being down the 2021 season. I think the league is a tremendous product. I'd like to see the business people do a little more and get the stadiums full because I think the product's great. The athleticism is awesome. Our stars are great. How much tweaking do you think actually needs to be done?
I think there's tweaking that needs to be done. I mean, look, I think as a league as a whole, whether you look at it from, as a league employee, as a team employee, as a fan, I think we have to be willing to adapt. And that's something that, I've come to learn, honestly, because at first when all of these things came out, I was pretty rigid that I didn't want to move. And there's certain aspects of the game that I'm still pretty rigid on. Like, I don't want to go to fourth down. I don't want to see 4 downs. I heard what Trevor Harris had to say on your show last week, I think it was. I think it's a great outside the box idea. And I like that, Trevor went there. I don't feel the need for it. I think there's been a couple of years, even pre-pandemic, where, things were down a little bit in terms of offense. But, I'll speak from a Montreal perspective. In 2019, I think we had some of the greatest finishes that I've ever seen watching the league. Right here in Montreal, there was the game in Calgary where they came back from 11 points down. I think it was with about a minute 30 left, and they won in double overtime in Calgary. And then, they overcame a 24-point deficit here at home, biggest comeback in franchise history to beat Winnipeg. So, look, not every game is going to be exciting all the time. I think you see that in the NFL as well. I do think that there might be a game flow issue. I think keeping the quarterbacks healthy is a big deal because when you have to go to your backup, your third and fourth string quarterbacks, it does make it a little bit more difficult to string drives together. So, I do think there are improvements that need to be made. And I think we need to be willing to evolve with the times and to adapt. But, I'm with you. I don't think we need a major overhaul in the CFL. I think, from a marketing perspective, you're starting to see teams are doing more and more, and I think that'll attract a younger fan base. Like for us, I know I was at the Combine with a couple of my teammates here, and we're going to have, full behind the scenes. We're going to take you into the interview room. We're going to take you, into the discussions with our football ops people. So I do think that, the behind the scenes stuff is going to attract new CFL fans as well. I think that's something people are interested in. But, if we're talking specifically about the game, I don't think you need major overhaul. I do think you have to keep an open mind, though, because changes do need to be made.
Well, man, Joey, you and I could get a coffee or a Diet Coke and discuss this even for hours, probably, because, to be honest, I saw more NFL games last year live than CFL games, and I think the CFL games move way faster than the NFL, but I think the TV product camouflages that and hides it, right? Because there's a difference between watching on television versus in the venue. Yeah, I think the CFL does move faster than the National Football League, but I like what you're saying with the behind-the-scenes stuff. I was trying to do it 10, 15 years ago. I really hope, that every team gets on board because, let's be honest, there's a lot of teams that don't want to let you behind the curtain. They might be the teams that aren't doing what you're doing right now. Ottawa's leading the way. Looks like the Alouettes are following in line, but it's always been a problem getting everybody on board, pulling on the same rope. But anyways, we are out of time. Joey, let's do it again, sir. Thanks for the time here today, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, buddy. I'm a little jealous of the background there. Maybe I have to I'll come meet you one of these days.
The meeting will be here. Yes, absolutely. EC.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. Joey Alfieri of the Montreal Alouettes.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
The BC Lions' current roster has been constructed in a lot of ways through the CFL draft. Their number 1 overall pick a couple of years ago, Jordan Williams out of East Carolina, ended up being Rookie of the Year. Their starting quarterback this year, Nathan Rourke, went in the second round. I believe he was the first pick of the second round that same year. So, Neil, thanks for your patience in joining us. And just what we're talking about is the claims that by the Dolphins, Brian Flores, their former coach, of tanking. Safe to say, we never hear the tanking discussion in the CFL. At least I haven't. Have you in all your years in the league?
No. I mean, tanking's not something. In the Canadian Football League, you got to play and play now and win now. So it's not. There is no advantage to tanking. There is no, so-called Wayne Gretzky in the draft that you can wait for and build a team off of. That's just the way the Canadian Football League is. So tanking is not something that teams are going to do or have the ability to do.
Of course, no. But the thing is I brought it up because they're talking about it here in Miami, and so far there's been no evidence that the Dolphins did tank over the last 3 years with Flores in charge. But with you guys, your draft, I don't know if you heard what I said before you brought on, Jordan Williams and Nathan Rourke, your last 2 top picks from a couple of years ago, is the middle of your team, quarterback and linebackers. So you guys going to be pretty proud of what you've done the last few years in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, those 2 individuals, especially our middle linebacker, has really stepped up and, turned out to be not only a good football player on the field, but actually off as well. Like just a leader of men, which at the end of the day in professional football, you need to have some alpha males leading your team. And right now, Jordan is that guy at the middle linebacker spot. He's an excitable young man that makes a lot of tackles, and we're excited to have him. On the other realm, the offensive guy with Nathan, yeah, excited about that. When we first picked him, I mean, the reality is that he is a Canadian, but at the end of the day, he's just a good football player and a good quarterback. So we're excited to see what expectations he has. And we have high expectations for him. He has high expectations for himself. And so we're going to hit the ground running with, so far him at the Realm.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've had both those young men on this show, and I respect them both immensely, as you just said, as football players, but as individuals. So, yeah, I know how important the CFL draft is, which, speaking of, how are the plans for the Lions this year? How many picks you guys got? What are you looking at this year for BC?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we're right in the middle of trying to figure out the draft. We pick 3rd, 12, and then from there on, things go as they go. But we're gonna get 2 of the top 12 picks in the 2022 CFL draft, and we believe that of those 2 picks, they will be able to come in and help us day one. That our expectations are to pick a couple guys that will be able to come in and complement our current team. We have a young football team, but we also have a young team that guys are coming into their second year that are still young. So it's time to continue building and bringing in young talent to compete with the group we already have.
Actually, now that you say that, I recall that you're picking 3rd because I saw the comment or the quote where somebody said at number 3 they should take Trey Ford because they're going Canadian at quarterback anyways. I'm not going to ask you what you're doing, but what are your thoughts on this young man out of Waterloo, Trey Ford? You saw him up close and personal, obviously.
Yeah, you know what? It's a testament to U Sport. It's a testament to young football players in the country of Canada that, those 2 young men and a couple other guys from Waterloo, him and his brother went to the University of Buffalo Pro Day, and the 2 guys that no one expected anything from were the 2 guys that were the highlights of the Pro Day. So, even when I spoke to him directly and just asked him what his, experience was going to Buffalo, and he said he was nervous going down because it's the NCAA, it's America, it's the big United States, and he was excited when the fact that he got there and was actually one of the best players at the workout, and that's a testament to Waterloo, that's a testament to U Sport, and that's a testament to all young football players in the country of Canada to work hard, get better, and compete, and that's what the sport's all about. And excitable to see young men compete at the top level.
Well, and to be honest, Neil, that's my next thing. You've been in this game a real long time. Can you please tell me about the state of Canadian talent? I mean, Chase Claypool in your own backyard. They say there's more Canadians than ever playing NCAA. We know there's more than ever in the NFL. Is it a fact that across the board it's higher than ever? And how has that impacted the CFL draft in terms of you don't know where these kids are going to end up when you're drafting them?
Yeah, you know what? As a Canadian and a guy who's worked and played in amateur football in Canada, I'm excited and happy for the young men that are finally getting opportunities to play at the top level. Now, as an executive in the Canadian Football League, you're a little bit, the word's not nervous, but the fact is that the United States and the NCAA and the NFL are finally looking at athletes in Canada. That's, again, it's not worrisome. It's just the reality. It's the realities that we have to live with, that, we are the Canadian Football League. We give young men an opportunity to play at the professional level. And we've always had to compete with the National Football League for talent. And we're just going to have to compete even more. And that's just the way things are, which is great for the young men playing. But we're going to have to put our boots to the ground and just find more raw talent to develop and compete.
I got to ask you how nice it was to have a normal combine, to be able to interview the players face to face, see them face to face, compared to what you've had to do the last 2 years.
I can't tell you how refreshing it was, and just refreshing, from being the last 2-3 years working in the boardroom and doing all the business parts of professional football. Going there and refreshingly seeing these young men excited about talking to you, excited about getting into the Canadian Football League. There was no, negativity at all. It was all positive and all happy and all smiles. And you know what? It's refreshing to start that part. And this is an exciting time of the year because all these guys are excited and will get the opportunities to come in. And then, once they get into camps, the realities of professional football take over. But until that time, we're going to just be happy and start put our nose to the grindstone and find some young talent to become BC Lions for 2022.
As I figured, this would go far too fast. We only have a minute, Neil, but I'm wondering how much you're enjoying the analysis of people looking at your Canadian quarterback combo saying what a gamble it is. And I believe it is a gamble. How excited are you to hopefully prove people wrong this year with the BC Lions?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to prove people wrong. The reality is Nathan is a quarterback. He went to an American school. He went to high school. I mean, it's not like, he by his birth rate, he's Canadian, but at the end of the day, he's like any other quarterback we brought in. And if he didn't have the ability or the talent, he wouldn't be in the position he's in now. If Nathan was born in, New York, not Toronto, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We'd just be excited about the BC Lions have a great young quarterback. But because he's Canadian, people, put a little bit of an asterisk beside his name. So I'm excited to see how he performs. He's shown us that he can perform. He's done all the right things professionally on and off the field. So we have high expectations of him. He has high expectations of himself. And we're excited about competing in 2022 and, showing these people that we are going to be a good football team.
Well, I expect it to work out just the way that you plan, and as you can see, we're following it very closely. I hope to get out there for a game this year. So, Neil, always good seeing you and chatting ball with you, my man. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
The co-general manager of the BC Lions, Neil McEvoy.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Gotta shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Right now.
Obviously, I'm friends with everybody around here. So one of the security people, you give them a badge, right? And they're big shot.
How about that?
Guy was bragging to me one night. He's like, I denied John Cornish getting into Ryderville. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Who cares if he wants to cut the line? Let him in. What the hell? I'm still mad about that 8 years later. Like, what are you doing?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show. Memories of the 2013 Grey Cup. And it'll be, what, now 9 years later, 2022 Grey Cup at Mosaic Stadium. It is a Football Friday. Hello. We're closing the week with episode number 742 of your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show, live on Game Plus Television, as we bring in the Moose to Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. Hey, Moose.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Here's one for the viewers, okay? And it is a best of show. Moose and I are live now. But on today's show, being a Football Friday, Zig Fracassi to talk NFL, Dave Naylor to talk CFL. From the Stampeders, John Hufnagel. From the Alouettes, Joey Alfieri. From the BC Lions, Neil McEvoy. And we're just going to wind it up because we're in Calgary with a tremendous chat from Jamie Macoun. Calgary Flames, great. But I want to get it going with our viewers. We got to be real quick here. Grey Cup 2022 combatants. You tell us in the chat who you think it will be. All across this country, who you think it will be. I'm throwing a curveball at you. Like, have you thought yet who's going to be in this Grey Cup?
No, not really.
Is it too early for that?
Well, it is, but it's exciting because there's so many teams. I could, like, in the West, I could pick any one of them and
give you a reason why.
Yeah,
you could explain why.
I could explain why any team could get in there. You know what? I'm going to go off the board. Just a rematch of. You can tell me the year. I think it was in Regina, wasn't it?
Who are you saying?
Edmonton, Montreal.
2003 Grey Cup.
There you go.
And 02. Incidentally,
and 02.
That was in Edmonton.
And that'll be just two wild card random. Like, there's no reason.
It's a little early in the day to be drinking, isn't it, Moose?
I know, right?
Chris Jones. Edmonton Elks against the Montreal Alouettes.
Battle of the Joneses. Chris and Kahar.
Okay, well, I've spent enough time. I'm glad that we brought this up. Here in Calgary. Because I've been with the football people here, and I've been saying, I might be cheering for Edmonton because of Chris Jones and Duran. I've got a lot of buddies in Winnipeg. I got a lot of buddies, obviously, in Saskatchewan. And the Stampeders, people are like, well, what about us? We've been so good to you guys. So what if I said the Calgary Stampeders and the Toronto Argonauts?
Ooh,
a 2017 recap.
Sexy.
Rematch. Okay, what's yours, everybody? You might want to make a meme of this, our Grey Cup predictions. I think that'll be fun going into the weekend.
Yes.
Featured games for BetRegal.ca this weekend, our exclusive betting partner. I only work one day at a time, as my bracelet says. So tonight in the NHL, there's only 4 games. Ottawa at Columbus, Seattle at Minnesota, Colorado at Edmonton, Washington at Arizona, Major League Baseball, Blue Jays at Houston. And in the NBA, there's 3 games, but it's not the Raptors. Nobody cares about that. So my featured game is the Colorado Avalanche at the Edmonton Oilers. West Conference Final preview, Moose. What do you think?
Yeah, that's
my featured game.
That's probably going to be the best game of the weekend. Mine's still the USFL game tonight, Michigan, New Jersey.
I don't know if you can bet on that at BetRegal.
I don't know. I'd have to check. And I was just going to tell you, your New Jersey-Tampa game of 1-0 teams, it's on NBC and Peacock.
This is the USFL that we were talking about last hour. Who's my Tampa Bay team playing again? New Jersey?
New Orleans Breakers. I'm playing New Jersey.
Right. What do you got, Clark? What do we got? Oh, what are we going into here? Sorry to our viewers. Which interview?
I guess you're going to have to stay tuned to find out.
Yeah, you have stay. Hey, yes, it is a Flame Deck Football Friday here on Game Plus Television.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You got to subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Ready to talk some hockey. And a game night, by the way, for the Flames with the Seattle Kraken in town. And I got to tell our listeners that last hour, if you missed it, Shane Knighty of the Golden Knights broadcast crew was with us previewing the big game in Vancouver tonight for Vegas. So it's playoff hockey there. There you go. Are you getting them good?
Go maybe reverse them. Maybe not very often I have these in my ears.
Gotcha. If we have to switch them over to headphones, we'll do that. You found it. You're good.
Yeah, I was at the wrong door, apparently. It wouldn't be the first time. So,
like I say, it's a little confusing around here. Are you familiar with Grey Eagle?
I've been here a couple times.
It's a cool spot.
For some functions. Yes, it was nice. So I checked the door. It was locked, so I figured, obviously a day like today with the weather, go inside the casino, go in through the inside, and obviously that was a mistake.
But it's busy over there. This place rocks 24/7, man. I love it. Well, Jamie, I'm sorry to I said I was a little excited. I'm a longtime fan here to have you on, so I appreciate you coming down to chat hockey. Are you getting any vibe of Flames days of old in the city now with how good this team is?
Well, you know what? It's been a long time. 2004 was kind of a Cinderella story where they kind of came out of nowhere and went obviously all the way to the finals, and probably should have won that one. But, for a lot of years, it's been kind of a one or two man show here. You've had, Jerome McGinley and Mika Kiprusoff. Between the two of them, they could carry, pretty well any team. And when Kipper was on and Jerome was on, I mean, they were still fun to watch. It was great. It was a great atmosphere. But for the layperson, you don't realize the deficiencies in the teams. This team right now, the way they're plugging along, I don't want to say flying along because Sutter would be mad, right? Nothing can be fancy with him. Just plugging along, do your job. And these guys are playing well. There's a lot of guys out there that are pulling on the same rope at the same time. And, I'll use Milan Lucic as maybe the best example. A lot of people that don't follow hockey, kind of go like, why is he even on the team? Why is that guy there? Well, you know what? Every time he's on the ice, something's happening, right? And and he's got a bunch of goals, and he brings a real spark to the team. And any good team, whether you have superstars or not, if you don't have those, third line guys, the fourth line guys playing well, you're not going anywhere.
Would you compare him then to a Tim Hunter in '89? Who would have been that guy in '89?
You have
a bunch?
Well, it's interesting because, right now, if you were to, even though I believe Calgary's probably the toughest they've been for at least a decade. They've got a number of guys that are willing to hit, a number of guys that are willing to get in the middle of it and take a punch, give a punch, those sorts of things. And that's what you need. The hockey purists, that out there, or at least they think they're hockey purists, they always go, oh, back in the old days with Montreal or back in the old days with Toronto, those were, skilled teams and everything. Yeah, they had skill, but they were also the toughest team in the league. And, when Philadelphia won, they were the toughest. When Boston was winning, they had tough guys. And when Toronto and Montreal were winning, they had tough guys as well. So you just can't, even in this new game, you can't win without being team tough. And, I guess the big question, if you were to go north, 3 hours from here, with the superstars that Edmonton has, are they tough enough to win? Are they good enough to win? And I think if you were to look at the both teams right now, I think everyone would probably acknowledge that McDavid is a little bit of step above what Calgary has, and Draisaitl's playing incredible. But I think most people right now would say that Calgary's the better team, and over a 7-game series, Calgary would win.
But it's interesting because we've been up here a lot this winter doing the show from here, and at the first half of the season, the Flames couldn't beat Edmonton. And then the last two, you've killed them. Here, right? So I don't know what's changed, just the metamorphosis of a team through a season or what. You know what I'm saying? Because the Flames, people were saying, are kryptonite's the Oilers.
Well, it's always been. Back when I played, Calgary had a pretty strong team. I came in '83, and they very quickly got a lot stronger. But you still had to go through Edmonton. The whole Smythe division back then was strong. Vancouver had good teams. Winnipeg had good teams. And unfortunately for Winnipeg and Vancouver, they get overlooked a lot simply because they never made it to the finals. They never, won a cup. But they were strong teams. And, what's the difference? Obviously, even though I played a lot of games, I'm not in that dressing room right now. I don't know what's the difference, but I think part of it has to be the comfort level of your superstars, or stars, if you want to call them here. Johnny and Lindholm and Kachuk and who just start going down. Those guys feel comfortable going out there because they know that if they go into the corners, if something happens, they've got guys on their team that are going to back them. And everybody who doesn't really play the game thinks, oh, I would do it. Like I'm not scared of anybody. But when you're getting your head hammered into the glass, and it takes a toll on you.
Not a lot of fun.
No, it's not, and you get the odd cut, and it does take a toll on you. And I think maybe that's the big difference right now. Our best line is really comfortable right now. They're playing well, and our second line's comfortable. And then you start looking down and like, well, what's our third or fourth line doing? They're hustling, and they're really giving her. They're maybe not having quite as much success in scoring, but it's a tough line to play against. This is a rhetorical, maybe dumb question, but I'm famous for those. One of the first things out of your mouth was the 2004 Stanley Cup final when you sat down here. And one thing I've noticed is they're not over it here. They may never get over it. If they won the Stanley Cup with this team or down the line, would it make some people get over it? I don't. Just answer that, and then I'll go. Well, Rhett Warner's on our alumni or with our alumni, and some of the most fun that we have is bugging him about the fact he didn't win a cup. It's like, I think he went to the finals 3 times and unfortunately didn't win it any of the times. But that's all just good-natured humor. But I think the reality is, if the cameras were set up the way they are now, the puck was clearly over. But what do? You play with the rules of the day, and Calgary probably should have been the winner there in Game 6. And, that might have made a bit of a difference for some of the, I hate to say long-suffering fans, but because there's Toronto down the way a little bit, has been a little bit longer. But I think Calgary, fans, the ones who have been sticking with the team for, thick and thin, realize that this team is strong. I mean, are we as good as Colorado, who seems to be the class of the West? We'll find out, right? Hopefully we'll find out. And are we, the good news is that once you get to the finals, you don't have to go through, Pittsburgh and Washington and Florida and Tampa and Carolina. You only have to go through one, right? You're just one team. So if you get to the finals, it's one team versus one other team. Depending upon the injuries, depending upon the confidence, anything can happen.
The reason I asked if it would help people get over it was, I was the voice of the Rough Riders for 20 years, and I called the Grey Cup here that the 13th man, the last play of the game, we got too many men, right? And we lose the game. We ended up winning it in 2013, but you don't get over it because that's a different team, right? So Kipper, Rich Preston, any of those guys with the team in 04, you don't ever get over that. Well, the fans might be able to, but
yeah, it's opportunity lost. I mean, I think I don't know how I made the NHL. I was just very fortunate. I just seemed to bounce back and forth and ended up getting signed and played for a lot of years. But for the majority of the people, especially back in the Western Hockey League, it's a lot of work to get to the NHL. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're sacrificing home life, you're sacrificing your high school sometimes, and then you get on those buses and you're spending 8, 10, 12, 14-hour trips. And so anybody who makes it to the NHL after going through that Major A route, and especially in the West, you deserve a little pat on the back, because it's a tough hole. And so with all that in mind, and finally get to the finals, maybe the only time for majority of the guys that were on the team, and to lose it that way, or maybe I should say, to not win it that way, it's still got to grind them a little bit.
Well, if you ask how you made the NHL, you were never minus ever in Calgary. Never. That happened in Toronto a little bit, minus 4 team. I watched, Jamie. I know what type of player you were, obviously, but those Great Flames teams, you must feel kind of blessed, I would think. Part of that. I
was pretty lucky. Talked to different guys who've played, and some of the guys played for like 7 or 8 different teams, because they were either just good enough to get traded for, or maybe just not good enough to be on the team, so they were traded away. I came to Calgary in '83, just when Calgary was starting to get strong. We had a really strong team for a lot of years, and then I got traded away. Dougie Riseborough didn't like my style of play, I guess, or something.
Didn't like strong defensive play.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you said it. But I think if you were to ask Doug, that he was trying to make a mark, and a lot of GMs, when they first get in, especially in their first couple of years, they want to make a mark and prove, hey, I'm as good as all the rest of the GMs out there, so I'm going to make this bold move. If Lehman didn't hit the crossbar and the post a few times and got his confidence back, maybe everything changes, but he didn't. And the interesting thing was, reporters, maybe yourself included, they do a lot of research that hockey players don't. And I remember coming back a year later to Calgary, and they said, hey, do you realize, and I don't know how many points I had, like 17 or something, or not many. Anyways, they said, you have more points than all the other guys that were traded from Toronto to Calgary right now, and I said, I'm going like Lehman, like it was just unfortunately, it was just a terrible turn of events for the Calgary Flames, because they ended up getting 5 guys, and after about 2 years, the only guy there was Berube, and he was there obviously to be more physical, not a goal scorer. And Dougie Gilmour just kind of came into his own. I was lucky enough to play quite a few more years, so it is a bit of a lopsided trade, and really put Calgary behind for a lot of years. And I think that's something that if you were to ask me what's the number one question I get asked, it's either like, hey, what's it like to win the Cup, and which Cup was better, Calgary or Detroit? And then maybe the third most asked question is about the trade. And I try to be polite and everything, but it was a mistake. I think if we hadn't traded Dougie away, and hopefully myself, I could have contributed as well, that Calgary would have stayed stronger for a lot more years and maybe had another 2 or 3 chances to at least take a run at the Cup.
Right. Well, look at the path that it set the Flames on for the entire 90s. They didn't come out of it for 10, 15 years, right? After that. But look, we're going to break. Can you stay for one more segment?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So we covered the Flames side of things. When we come back, you mentioned Doug Gilmour. We'll talk about the Leafs side of things for you and the Wings. And I did a banquet with Killer in Moose Jaw one night, and I said, would you mind opening it up to the crowd for questions? And he said, yes, but no questions about the high stick in 93. Still wouldn't talk about it.
He's bitter.
So we'll talk about that. For the Leaf fans, stick around. More with Jamie Macoun coming up after this break. You're watching the RP Show live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the Game Plus TV network. We're across all 10 provinces and 31 states. Also live streaming on YouTube and 24-hour sports radio at rodpeterson.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You're looking at it live, the Event Center for all future guests. You see Event Center on the west side. That's where we're broadcasting from today. And we'll be here for 2 weeks and then back over to the casino side after that. And I tell you what, this has been better than I even imagined. Jamie Macoun here. Flames great, Leafs great, Red Wings great, two-time Stanley Cup champion. I'll open it up to your questions now because I selfishly wanted to get my questions out for Jamie. And I told him that there's a town in Saskatchewan named Macoun. And you got a story behind that. You got to tell the viewers what you just told me.
Yeah, I was actually driving through a number of years ago through Saskatchewan on the way back home. I figured I'd take the family and do everything. And then I didn't even realize where I was going. Drove right into Macoun or Macoun. And it's not a big town. It has like a co-op gas station / convenience store. It's a farming area. And so I actually went in there. They were just celebrating their 100th anniversary, I believe it was. And so I went in there and said, listen, do you have anything that has the name on it, like a sweater or jackets or anything? And I guess, they only make so many of them. And the only thing they had left was lighters. So I bought like a dozen lighters with Macoun on them. But I had to explain to them that it's Macoun, not Macoun. And then they told me I didn't know what I was talking about. So I said, all right, I'm good with that.
But it's named after a relation of yours.
Yeah, it is. It's named after a relative on my dad's side, obviously. And he was working for the British government way back when, and he was a botanist. And, good news, bad news is he's one of the reasons why the capital of Alberta is in Edmonton versus Calgary, because when he came out for a couple of years, Calgary was having a real dry spell, and Edmonton was all lush and green. And so, it's not like you flew out every day on the plane. They said, oh, Edmonton, lush, Calgary, no good. Yeah, no good.
Wow.
That's a little interesting.
As a botanist, yeah. Well, and the thing is, we'll be in Estevan broadcasting this show live May 20th to the 29th Centennial Cup, and Craig Button and I will be speaking at the Estevan Bruins Annual Sportsman's Dinner Thursday, May 26th. So get your tickets. It'll be in the Power Dodge Curling Center. So, I'm sorry, I'm just such a hockey nerd. You mentioned the Western Hockey League guys getting to the NHL. You were a junior A guy who went the college route. Was that an easy decision for you?
Very easy. Because actually, I didn't go major A. I went junior A. And,
that's what I meant. Yeah.
But the people out in the West don't realize that. They go, "What do you mean you're in A or you're not in A?" It's like, well, out there was so much population, so many towns. You had a lot of junior A, junior B, junior C. Then you had major A. And I played on a hockey team growing up. We had a small town of about 11,000 when I first moved in there into Newmarket. And just by the grace of God, had, like 8, 9 guys that all played at the same time. We went all the way up together on what we called the travel team, and we went to the All Ontario Finals 6 times and won it 5 times. Like, we just had an incredibly good team. And come first year of midget, we had a couple guys say, "Oh, you should go play second year. Bump yourself up, get ready for major." I didn't go that route, and the 2 of our guys did, and they were quite good on our team. And then they both had an opportunity to go to major A, and it didn't work out well. There was just a very physical sport back then, and lots of fighting, and our guys just weren't ready. And I shouldn't say that it crushed them, but it kind of took the spirit out of them. And I was relatively strong in school, so I had an opportunity to go down to a number of different schools, and for whatever reason, I picked Ohio State. Just met some guys, watched the game, talked to them afterwards, and I had no clue what I wanted to do in my life. And they said, well, you can be, at this university, it's a state school, so you can be a doctor, a lawyer, you can be whatever you want. And so that's how I picked it. And just one thing led to another, and I actually got injured my second year, blew my knee out, had full reconstruction. And that, even though it was a painful situation, that was the reason I made the NHL. Because for the first time ever, I actually worked out. And, you had
to, yeah.
I had to. I was just one of those guys. I was very lucky. I was naturally in shape, if you want to call it that, a little bit better than now. And that's the first time I actually worked out, and I did a lot of squats and a lot of bench press and stuff. And so starting year 3, very first game, we were, I can't remember, Michigan State, wherever we were, I hit a kid and he kind of went through the glass, and the glass shattered and what have you. And then my coach at the end of that first game says, okay, give me until Christmas. And I'm looking at him going like, well, give you for what? What have I done? I'm sorry. Well, I'll start all over. What did I do wrong? And he says, no. He says, all those guys up in there, those are scouts for the NHL. And they were there to look at the guy you just threw through the glass. And so I said, okay, well, I will give you till Christmas. And then I'll wait until Sunday, because you got to wait till Sunday to get the cheap telephone call. And then I called my parents and said, yeah, there's a chance that I might have it, to go to the NHL or something. And and then as a couple more games went along, more scouts showed up, and then I realized the opportunity was real.
I'm going to fast forward a bit in your career, because I just looked up the Wikipedia of Jamie Macoun, and for our younger viewers, they won't understand this. I'm going to read a paragraph about your trade, okay? From your Wikipedia. Midway through the season, Macoun was involved in a blockbuster trade centered on Doug Gilmour that was, at the time, the largest in NHL history. Have you read this? I mean, you knew it. You were part of it. Yeah. This is what it says. On January 2nd, 1992, Calgary sent Doug Gilmour, Jamie Macoun, Rick Nattrass, Rick Wamsley, and Kent Manderville to the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for Gary Lehman, Craig Berube, Alexander Godinyak, Michel Petit, and Jeff Reese. The 10-player deal was credited as being the catalyst to a significant improvement in Toronto's fortunes on the ice. And it sent the Flames going the other way. So you fast forward to the 90th. You didn't want to go to Toronto, is the sense that I'm getting.
Well, no, and nobody did. And it sounds silly, but, the Calgary Flames ownership group back in the day I was here, we're all really good family people. And I'll give you a quick example. People won't understand this. I got a slap shot, broke my orbital bone, and they had to wrap me up. So I spent like 7 days in the hospital with my eyes wrapped. A little concerned of actually losing sight. And while I'm there, one of the owner's wives had gone and baked cookies. Her name was Becky Hotchkiss, and she's an incredible cook. And she baked cookies and some, breads and stuff. Came to the hospital, sat with me for like 2 hours, holding my hand, talking to me about stuff. I was like 23, 24. And, I'm telling people this later on, like people that have been traded to Calgary or Toronto, like, this is what happens in Calgary. And they're going like, I don't think I ever met my owner. Like, I don't even know who he is. And so because of that, a lot of the guys in Calgary never wanted to leave because we were treated very fairly. But this might sound stupid now because the numbers are so different. I offered Doug Riseborough, I said, I will sign a 3-year deal for $1 million, like not $1 million per year, $1 million total. And so, and it was all in Canadian dollars. And I said, I just, let me do this and a couple of little things I wanted to do. And obviously that was no good. As he put it, I was no damn good. So I get traded to Toronto, and within a month I've signed like a $3 million US deal. And I'm going like...
Makes it a little better.
I think I should have been traded all along.
Right. So. But here's what I don't get, and I want to get to the 93 Eastern, or I guess would be Western final, but I'm surrounded by all these young Leaf fans. Our producer, Clark, who you've been dealing with, my co-host, Darren, who's not here today, but they're all young, but they're Leaf fans. And I look at it and go, how could you be Leaf fans? For instance, I just did a dinner with Lanny Saturday night in Assiniboia. Lanny doesn't even want to talk about the Leaf days. Rick Vive would rather not really talk about the Leaf days. You know what I mean? Because I grew up with them being a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But I guess the kids don't see it that way. I don't know. They've kind of... But they still haven't won anything. I don't see how the Leafs are so popular, Jamie, is what I'm getting at.
Well,
even now they are.
Well, you have what do you got? About 8 million people?
That's what it is?
8 million people within 2 hours of Toronto?
Well, they have to be if they're from there. It's the Western Canadian Leaf fans that I don't get.
Well, they said my dad grew up a Leaf fan, and he moved from Ontario.
That must be it.
Stuff. And I mean, when I was growing up, I was a Leaf fan, but I was also a Montreal fan because my older brother was a Leaf fan, right? So you couldn't go for the same guys. And like I've met quite a few people when I was down in Toronto, obviously, when like a Daryl Sittler and,
right.
And some of the older guys that you see in all the old pictures. all so nice. I mean, that's one thing that I guess they didn't get beat out of them by the owners down there, is the fact that they were brought up as good people and they stayed good people. And I played in the old Maple Leaf Gardens, and one of the first days I remember getting out and saying, "Oh, I got to go on hockey night in Canada." I'm going, "Oh, where do I have to go?" And you go, "Oh, it's right there." Like you literally walk 6 feet. And
the old place,
underneath the stands, right, where it's like stuff's dripping down, and in that one little area where Ron and Don Cherry were, that was the only dry area, right? And but playing in the Gardens was just incredible. The fans were right there, and you could hear everything. So if you're having a good game, you heard it. If you're having a bad game, you heard that too.
Miss it. Well, yeah, and I remember when I was there, Harold Ballard was long past, but the Ballard's bunker was still there as the vaunted where he watched the games, right? So obviously you didn't want to go, but it ended up being great for you, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, my dad lived up the street there in Newmarket, and I had just had a child, or no, I didn't, my wife did,
right?
And so the child was like 2 days old when we got traded. And it's funny because the nurses at the hospital here were saying, "You got to call the office. They want to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." And no, you got to call. And I said, "I've been traded." They would not trade you. Like, there's no way they would trade you, right? And I go, I've been traded, because why else would you call at 6:30 in the morning to a hospital? It's like, I said, don't worry about it. Somebody will call me to tell me where I've been traded to. And as it turned out, it was Dougie Gilmore's wife, and she was freaking out and like, we've been all traded. And I'm going like, who's we? Like, because I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. And sure enough, she gave me the list of who got traded. And I was thinking to myself, obviously, you're a little boastful about yourself. Hey, I'm pretty important here, and whatever. But I didn't think that the trade was fair right out of the gate. And obviously, as you mentioned earlier, as it turned out, the Calgary guys that went to Toronto all had a fair bit of success, and unfortunately, some of the guys that came west did not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so can you please just tell again the young viewers and refresh my memory why Doug Gilmour would say no questions on the 93 Gretzky high stick?
You know what? We had, I think, if I remember correctly, that game where we were in L.A., and it was a good series. It was a very good series. The L.A. was playing maybe above their weight. I guess Wayne has a way of doing that. Essentially, we had gone, the whole game without a penalty, and L.A. hadn't had a penalty. It was just one of those tough physical games that went on. And then I believe it was Glenn Anderson got a 5-minute boarding penalty with like 3 minutes to go or 2 minutes to go in the game. And we're all going like, you can't be calling a penalty now. Like, come on. Anyway, so very quickly after that, Dougie and Wayne Gretzky were facing off. And in the act of the face-off, somehow Gretzky clipped Dougie Gilmour right, between the eyes and cut him. And the rules back then were very clear. You cut somebody, it's 5 in game.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, well, we just got a 5. I think it's only and with one of our better players, and now Gretzky's out, maybe the better player, but still, he just got and the ref, who I guess you should
say it.
Yeah. He just, what?
Bill McCreary?
No.
Koharski?
No.
Who was it?
Who's got the best hair?
Kerry Fraser?
Kerry Fraser.
Yeah. Terrible referee, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? I won't say it. But, the point being is, like, the face-off's there. When you're dropping the puck, that's where everybody is looking. So there's no way you couldn't know. And I was right on the ice. I was 4 feet from him. Like, hey, I think he just got it in the face. Like, And, if there's no blood, well, you carry on. But there was blood, and the rules are very clear because they were really trying to, the NHL was really trying to lock down on the high sticking. And so we're going like, okay, you just kicked our guy out. And it turns out that, Gretzky was instrumental in scoring that, and changing the complex of that game. And then he finally, after 7 games back in Toronto, Gretzky breaks out, right? We had kept him in check for 6 games, basically. And we had, we were 100% confident that we could go into Montreal and beat Montreal. Like, we just knew we were going to do it. We matched better up against them, obviously, than LA did. But it's one of those things now that you go like, well, You just saying that, and if you're a Montreal fan, you say you never would have won, right? Of course
they're going to say that.
Yeah.
What a series that would have been, and would have been the greatest of all time.
Yeah, it would have been the last time ever it would have happened, right? Because now they're both in the same division.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in the minute we have left, the question you said you get a lot is, what's the better cup, Calgary or Detroit? 98 in Detroit had to be incredibly special.
Well, it was incredible because you win the cup. I went to the finals in '86. I went to the cup and finals and won it in '89. And you think, hey, every couple of years I'll be back, right? Even though you realize some guys have never made it to the finals. And it was a long stretch. And we went to the semifinals twice with Toronto, but it still took a long time to get back. So it was fun to be back playing, at that high level. Washington was our opponent. Washington was good, but they just were, like I said, a step below where Detroit was. Detroit had so many weapons, Fedorov and Yzerman and Shanahan for three. And then they had Lidstrom and Larry Murphy on defense, right? And then Bob Rouse and I were the second pair, or the defensive pair. It was a pretty strong team.
And you swept them, right?
Yeah, we swept them in 4. Yeah. So it wasn't quite the same. But the best part about it was a year later, we went to Washington to go to see the White House, and you land like an hour early. It only takes you 25 minutes to get to the White House, but the police deliberately wait like 40 minutes so that they can get the sirens going, and we're going like 85 miles an hour in a school bus essentially towards the White House, and they're kicking cars, and the police are kicking cars. Get over. And here you are with all these millionaire hockey players, and they've all got their heads out the windows just watching the scene go on. And then
God bless America.
And then we we arrive at the White House, and it's like, oh yeah, we still got 15 minutes. It's like, so I tell that story, and people go like, why? What? And I said, it's the VIP.
It's a motorcade.
Motorcade. Yeah, and that's what it is. So,
and that was the Clinton with the legendary Steve Yzerman. Right, we had the jersey. Yeah. We're going to welcome Steve Yzerman to the White House.
That was the year before. That was the second year. Yeah, okay. And didn't know the name, didn't know anything. You figure one of his helpers would have figured out how to say, "Hey, this guy's one of the most important guys in the league. You should at least know his name, right?"
There, yeah, exactly.
But it was fun. I got to see the White House, and that was also almost as exciting as winning it.
What a life.
Yeah.
Jamie, this has been amazing. Thank you for coming down. I hope we can do it again.
Give me a call.
Absolutely. Jamie Macoun, Calgary Flames great, 2-time Stanley Cup champion.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
TSN CFL insider Dave Naylor next up on the program, and it is our final segment. It is overtime, where we would normally have Darren DuPont in here answering viewer questions, but Nails is moving on in, and if you don't mind, let's bring him on. Dave, I was trying to think what is on our CFL radar right now. The commissioner, Randy Ambrosie, has COVID. There's some irony in there somewhere, right? He has to cancel the Montreal trip. Patrick Bourgeon named DB coach of the Ottawa Redblacks. And with Touchdown Atlantic announced last week, people talking about expansion to Atlantic Canada. So there's a little meat on the bone in CFL circles these days.
We got CBA talks that started last week as well. So, the official, now I should be clear, they have been talking for months, exchanging information, kind of the runway. But there is a point where they have to kind of start the clock running, because there's things like, if a certain point you've been negotiating, there's options that you can go to try to solve it or settle it. But I believe the middle of last week was the first meeting that actually qualifies as an official formal CBA negotiation. The process has begun.
Dave, you are more of a CFL historian than me, and I consider myself somewhat of one. Are we correct in saying there has never been a labor stoppage in CFL history? That's why I don't get too geeked up over these CBA talks.
No, there was one out of the 70s. I believe there was a couple of days delay to the start of training camp. There's never been a game missed. And to your point, Rod, I agree with this. There's going to be saber rattling. There's going to be, last time they settled the deal and then 24 hours later it was off, and we had this kind of, period where we weren't sure. Look, there's a reason there hasn't been a work stoppage in pro football, period, since 1987, right? And it's because there are two things that make a football strike very, very, very difficult, or work stoppage of any kind. One is that football is a pyramid when it comes to salaries, right? You've got a handful of players that make really good salaries relative to their sport, whether we're talking CFL or NFL. Economies of scale are different, of course. And then you've got most of the players that make, average money or below average money. And there's so many more of them than there are guys that are making $400,000, $500,000 in the CFL or making $30 million in the NFL. There's so many $600,000 guys in the NFL. There are so many $75,000 guys in the CFL. And it's really hard to take guys that are making minimum salaries and ask them to go to the wall and miss a year, in a sport that they could be out of in a couple of years. And that's the other dynamic, that careers are so short in professional football that asking the player to miss a year, you're asking the average player to sit out a quarter of his career. So those are the two things that I really come back to. And I agree with you. I don't think we're going to miss any football this spring, but there's always a bumpy road to getting there.
Is there as much money to go around as used to? They've been through, you got to say, the most perilous stretch in CFL history, and they've been through a lot. What do you know about the dollars and cents of the league right now?
I don't think the salary cap's going up, or to any significant degree. I think the owners are going to go into this session, telling the players about what they've been through and what they've had to invest and the things that they've had to cut and the money that they've lost over the last 2 years. I mean, someone said to me today, we haven't had a regular season in 3 years. They've missed 2 seasons, one completely missed and one from a revenue point of view, unless you were in Saskatchewan or Winnipeg, the revenue wouldn't have looked anything like it does at a regular time. So I think that's going to be tough for the players to negotiate against, just because the owners have reached into their pockets, and community-owned teams have had to do creative things. I think the model is going to be, let's find a starting point. Let's identify the areas of this we think we can grow together, and let's do a partnership where as we grow, you grow with us. I think that's going to be what the league takes into the CBA as kind of its lead philosophical proposal.
Well, Dave, we've had a great time broadcasting the show from Calgary. Huff's been down on location at the casino where we do it. A couple of assistant coaches. And the one thing Huff said was, we are back to business as normal in the CFL, business-wise. And that's got to feel good. Are you getting that sense from everybody?
Yeah, I mean, just around the combine and such that we just had here in Toronto, and having football conversations with people, it does feel like ordinary time, because I'm having football conversations. I'm having conversations that COVID isn't even coming up in. It does feel like it's almost like we woke up from a dream, Rod. And I think it is going to be same old in terms of what we see on the surface, right? I think the sport is going to, in terms of the way the teams do business, and I think we see some room for improvement. I mean, we heard the commissioner and a lot of the team presidents and things talk about things they've learned during the downtime and things they want to implement. I think last year was a bit of a survival season, and maybe we about the Genius Sports deal and other things that I think we're going to see evidence of as it rolls along. But yeah, very much I think this is a back to normal season. It's also a very important season for the league football wise. We've all gone through this conversation about what happened to the game. I have never subscribed to one theory about what happened to the game last year, but I've been pretty honest about what I thought of the game overall last year. It was not up to the standard that CFL fans are used to, and I think that was apparent. The question is why, and I think there's multiple reasons for it. Some of which I think had to do with some of the pandemic, and some that didn't. But they're going to make some tweaks to the game. I think it's going to be an important year for the league to be entertaining football-wise, or I don't think we're going to go back to the 4 downs conversation. I think the league's kind of been there, done that. I don't think we're going there again next offseason, probably no matter what happens. But I think the tweaking of the game will continue if the entertainment product doesn't respond the way people hope it will.
From one of the viewers, John Ohm in Winnipeg watching, he says, Dave, what's the reason the CFL keeps going to the Atlantic for a CFL game?
Well, I got to be honest. This one caught me by surprise when we got the tip that this was happening, and it was I didn't. The group that is behind the Atlantic Schooners has been fairly quiet, at least to my knowledge, over the time of the pandemic for obvious reasons. They got bigger issues to sort out at Halifax City Council, the province of Nova Scotia. The world's coming back. It's not just the CFL. But the fact that they're willing to plant the flag in Nova Scotia this quickly did catch me by surprise a little bit. And I'm going to refer to our reporter out in Atlantic Canada, Paul Hollingsworth, who's our TSN guy out there, who does great work for us. He called me after the news conference and everything, and he said, this is just my vibe, my sense, but this seemed to be about more than just a game, than one game. Like this seemed like there's really big kind of dreams and hopes and goals associated with this, because I didn't know what to think of it when this first came along. I was like, hey, wait a minute, they were supposed to do one of these in 2020. That was going to be at St. Mary's, I believe, in Halifax. It didn't happen because of the pandemic. And since then, there really hasn't been a lot of chat about Halifax. But just I'm passing you on just kind of his sense, or what his instinct said about the way the people with the Canadian Football League who were out there in Atlantic Canada for the announcement, it just felt, and this is his interpretation, it felt like they weren't there just to have a game this summer, that there is a much sort of larger thing going on there. And I think it's obvious, to your listener's question. I mean, there's only one place really, I think, in Canada to add a 10th team. I think it is Atlantic Canada. I think the league sees, a win-win there in terms of football-wise, having 2 5-team divisions. I think they see it sponsorship and business-wise in terms of completing the national map. And I think having real tangible growth in the CFL at this time would be, I think, both from a realistic point of view, an actual point of view, and just perception-wise, I think would be important. So I'm kind of excited to see where this goes after going to sleep for a couple of years for obvious reasons.
Viewer Colin in Ottawa has a question. What are the chances Trey Ford actually goes to the NFL? Is this like the Nathan Rourke last year where the Canadian quarterback is overhyped and the NFL shows no interest?
Okay. I was at Trey Ford's pro day in Buffalo about 2 weeks ago where there were, 24 NFL teams roughly that were represented to see him. I've talked to Chris Bertoia, his head coach, who's talked to how much interest there is from NFL teams. I'm going a little bit here by the consensus of CFL scouts that were that day at the University of Buffalo. I mean, I talked to a lot of them. And the consensus was that they didn't think Trey Ford would be available to the CFL this summer. They think he's going to get into a camp, which, coming from the University of Waterloo, as a guy who's only played 6 regular season games the last 2 years because of the missed season in 2020, that in itself is an accomplishment. There is a mountain to climb after that before you get to taking a live snap in an NFL regular season game. I mean, look at where most of the quarterbacks of the league right now come from. They are top of the draft pretty much across the board. There's exceptions, but I think there's probably more quarterbacks that are taken near the top of the draft playing in the NFL than there's ever been. I did a little measurement of this last year compared to 10 or 20 years ago. There's fewer Jeff Garcias, there's fewer Kurt Warners. There just aren't as many of those kind of guys in the NFL. That's one thing. And two is just coming from the level that he's coming from, against the competition he's coming from, playing a different game, and again, not had that much playing experience the last 2 years. All those things are going to work against him, which brings us to the question is, will he be asked to take a position change? And I think that's possible as well. He's physically matches up well enough to play other positions on the field. So, I think he will get interest. I expect he'll be in a camp. I will be surprised if he ever takes a live snap in an NFL game. And that's not a knock on him. It's just knowing, look how thinly worn the path is from U Sport quarterback to the NFL, right? Michael O'Connor got into a weekend minicamp with Seattle. Before that, you got to go Dan Faraday, 1982, Cincinnati, Jamie Bone, 1980, Dallas. Larry Justanis got invited to the NFL Combine in 95 but didn't get signed by anybody. It's just such a thinly worn path. I think the difference between interest and opportunity and actually being able to convert that opportunity, and again, most of these things are out of his control. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, like you say, isn't it interesting? More Canadians than ever in the NFL, but not quarterbacks. Dave, great to see you, as always. Love the conversation. Lots of things to talk about in the CFL. Appreciate it, man. Keep in touch.
Anytime, Rod. Keep up the good work. Good to join you.
Think about TSN CFL insider Dave Naylor from the Big Smoke.
Get over it, please.